12 to 20 billion. Billion is so big. 1,000 million. So they thought the Big Bang started about 15 billion years. But they adjusted the figures now and it came to 13.7 billion years. Look, the mistakes here in billions years. Yeah? So it's not an accurate assessment. It all changes. So some people started saying it is 15 billion years, and then now they are saying it is 13.2 to 13.8 billion years, and they came to conclusion probably 13.7 billion years. I'm just telling you these figures so you can understand that these are estimates based on assumptions. They assume things and they build the picture based on their assumptions, and they reach to this figure. So they said that singularity started 13.7. What was in this little point? There was energy and matter. Yeah? And there was no space and there was no time. Okay, try to follow this because it's not easy. So they said this small little spot, which was energy and matter, started to expand and form the whole universe. If you ask them from where you got this singularity, they don't know. How this singularity was formed, they don't know. Okay? Now, when energy and matter are in a very small point like this, all the laws of physics will not work because it's too small, it's too condensed. So there is a problem with the start of the Big Bang. Okay? There is a major scientific problem with the start of the Big Bang. Like the first problem with the formation of the first cell. You remember in biology? The first cell, they think it is formed by hydrogen and nitrogen and oxygen and carbon pumped in each other, form something called amino acids. Amino acids form protein, protein forms cell, cell starts to divide and form you and me. Okay, that's the biology. In astronomy, in cosmology, that is the outer space and the galaxies, yeah, they think that all started with a simple point called singularity. Okay? So that happened, they say, 13.7 billion years. And the billion is 1,000 million. That's a long time. So what happened next? They said between 10 and 12 billion years, the stars started to form. The stars are gases which are interacting, and there is massive energy and light coming out from them. So they said the stars and galaxies were formed 10 to 12 billion years, as you can see. Then they think that the sun started about 5 billion years. Okay? And then the earth was like a molten metal. A metal very hot and burning. And they think it started 4.5 billion years. And then the oceans started to form about 3.8 billion years. Can you see the sequence of events here? Starting with the singularity, and then the galaxies, and then the sun, and then the earth, and then the oceans. Okay, you got that in mind? Is that compatible with the Bible? The answer is no. Completely different from the biblical creation. So the Big Bang theory does not really fit in the Bible at all. But this is the theory that is lots of people believe in, and we think this is how the world starts. But that's completely from the Bible, which says, in the beginning God created the heavens and earth. Right? So that is a completely different starting point. So the Big Bang, as I said, just to remind you, it started with the singularity about 13.7 billion years ago. And then the galaxies about 10 to 12 billion years. And then the sun about 5 billion years. And then the earth about 4.5 billion years. And then the oceans start about 3.8 billion years. And then they think life started in the ocean and came out to earth. So this is a completely different sequence of events from what the Bible teaches. Let us see what the Bible teaches. The Bible teaches God created the earth surrounded by water. Day 1, remember that. And then in day 3, He separated the water and asked the solid land to appear, and He created plants. And then in day 4, He created the sun. So this is a completely different order from the order that's given in the Big Bang Theory. Are we all clear with that? We all happy with the difference? Yeah. Right, so we don't believe in the Big Bang, though this is the most common theory now to explain the universe. But there are major problems with the Big Bang Theory on scientific level, and on the Bible level, this does not fit at all. Right. Don't worry about the Arabic words here. The evolution say that life started first in the sea, so there was fish in the sea, and then there were plants on the earth, and then dinosaurs came in, and then birds came, because you remember I told you they think that dinosaurs evolved into birds, which is a very big problem in itself, and then the land animals. Let us see what the Bible says. It says God created trees and plants in which day? Day 3. Remember? Yeah? Created sun, moon, and star in which day? Day 4. Created birds and fish in day 5. So that's completely from the different, and created the land and animals in day 6. So they are completely different starting points. One is starting with the assumption of man, which is the Big Bang and the evolution theory, and one starts with the Word of God, which is completely different from the previous theory. Right, the Big Bang again. We start at the far end here by what we call cosmic egg, or nothing. Okay? And then the Big Bang started to happen 13.7 billion years. And there was hydrogen and helium gases. And this started to condense and form the galaxies. And the galaxies formed something called supernova. And then the solar system started about 5 billion years. So the Big Bang does not fit the Bible at all. It is against the Bible. We cannot accommodate the Big Bang in the Bible at all. I'll let you watch this film and see it together.
our solar system has a marvelous assortment of planets and other objects that orbit the sun.
Yeah, increase the difference. Increase the voice.
Planets, sun inside. The second planet is Venus. The thick, clouded atmosphere creates a surface temperature of 900 degrees Fahrenheit, even hotter than Mercury. Next is the Earth, so well designed for life. Mars, about half the size of Earth, has mountains, valleys, and canyons, but no liquid water on its surface. Mars has two small moons, each only a few miles across. Farther out are the gas giants, made of hydrogen and helium. They have no solid surface. Jupiter, the largest of all the planets, is 11 times the diameter of the Earth and has more than 60 moons. The Great Red Spot is an enormous hurricane, over twice the size of Earth. Saturn's amazing rings are made up of billions of moonlets orbiting Saturn's equator. Next are Uranus and its twin Neptune. These planets have strong magnetic fields. Given how rapidly magnetic fields decay, a biblical age of thousands of years makes sense. Also, in our solar system are comets, small chunks of ice and dirt that orbit in elliptical paths, losing material every time they pass near the sun. Comets can't last millions of years. Young comets make sense if the creation is only thousands of years old. The beauty of these worlds, the precision of their paths, and their variety point to the wisdom and glory of their Creator.
Right. This is very complicated video, really, but I just want to show you how vast is the universe and how complicated the universe is. It cannot start by a haphazard reaction from the singularity forming all of this. We think that the Earth is 4.5 billion years. Now, the Earth is protected by something called magnetic field, right? Magnetic field. And this magnetic field prevents all the harmful X-rays that's coming from the universe to come and reach you and me. So the magnetic field is a very important protection to the Earth. What's happening? The magnetic field is coming less and less and less all the time. If the Earth is really 4.5 billion years, that means the magnetic field will become zero. And that means all the harmful X-rays that's in the universe will come and kill all of us. So the Earth cannot be 4.5 billion years at all. Okay? That's because when we come to the history in the Bible, with the days of creation, we discover that the universe is only thousands of years. It is not billions of years as they claim in the evolution theory of Big Bang. Is that clear? I know this is a difficult session, but I hope you understand all of this because it's important. At least understand the basics. Don't worry about the details, but just understand the singularity, the starting of a small point and expanding and forming the universe. Right. So, the Big Bang says there is the big started with the singularity and billions of years, and there will be heat at the end, and the whole universe will end. The Bible starts by God created in 6 literal days and thousands of years, and when Jesus comes again, there will be the end of the world and the new heaven and the new earth. Right, so we have the same facts, but we explain them differently. Let me show you this other video. It's about the stars, how they are formed, okay?
Consider the stars of the night sky. The Bible says that God created these wonders to mark the passage of time and to declare His glory. As the earth spins, the stars rise and set with clockwork precision. Stars are incredible sources of energy, glowing hot globes of hydrogen and helium gas. Our own sun puts out more energy every second than 100 billion nuclear bombs. But our sun is only one speck in an enormous galaxy of stars called the Milky Way, estimated to contain over 100 billion stars. But the Milky Way is only a grain of sand amidst a sea of galaxies. An estimated 100 billion galaxies are in the visible universe alone. Just imagine the power displayed every night, produced by 100 billion galaxies, each with millions to trillions of blazing stars. Yet God just spoke them into existence.
Right, again, you don't need to worry about the details. It just shows you how big the universe is, how massive the universe is, how there are billions of stars and billions of galaxies around us. So it is so big. Did it start by just a haphazard reaction causing the Big Bang to start, or God created the heavens and earth? These are the two different points. You remember the naturalistic point depends on matter, is all what exists, and the other one is time, chance, and laws of nature. But in the Bible it tells us God created the heaven and earth.
This is something that
Listen to this. I'll stop it for a minute because, right, what happens if we believe in the evolution theory of the universe, which is called the Big Bang? I'd like you to listen to this professor, who is an atheist professor. He doesn't believe in God. Because yesterday we learned two words. Atheist does not believe in God. Agnostic say, I don't know. Yes? You remember those two words. Now, this is Professor Krauss, Lord Krauss, and he is really atheist, saying there is no God. So I'd like you to listen to this. Try to understand the English. I will run it twice. Okay? So concentrate and then we'll comment on it. Okay?
This is something that I wrote a book about, and someone asked me yesterday why I wrote that book. Because it is the most poetic thing I know about the universe. But the amazing thing is that every atom in your body came from a star that exploded. And the atoms in your left hand probably came from a different star from your right. It really is the most poetic thing I know about physics. You are all stars. You couldn't be here if the stars hadn't exploded, because the elements, the carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, iron, all the things that matter for evolution, weren't created at the beginning of time. They were created in the nuclear furnaces of stars, and the only way they could get into your body is if the stars were kind enough to explode. So forget Jesus. The stars died so that you could be here today. Okay? And anyway.
Did you understand it? I'll say it again because English is difficult, but I'll explain it and then I'll run it again for you to understand. So, this professor who doesn't believe in God said what happened is the stars had exploded and formed all the elements like the oxygen and nitrogen and hydrogen which came on Earth and caused the evolution, so it made you and me. He said that probably one star exploded and formed some atoms which formed your right hand, and another star formed and formed the atoms in your left hand. So the stars died so you can live. He said, forget about Jesus who died for you to live, thank the stars that they died so you can live. Right? So it is terrible, but that means when we started to believe in evolution theory of the universe, which is called the Big Bang, the result of that, we say the stars died so we can live. Instead of Jesus died so we can live. I'll let you watch this again because I'd like you really to feel it and see how terrible that is. Because I hope the English will be clearer now after you understand what he had said.
This is something that I wrote a book about, and someone asked me yesterday why I wrote that book. Because it is the most poetic thing I know about the universe. But the amazing thing is that every atom in your body came from a star that exploded. And the atoms in your left hand probably came from a different star than your right. It really is the most poetic thing I know about physics. You are all stars. You couldn't be here if the stars hadn't exploded, because the elements, the carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, iron, all the things that matter for evolution, were created at the beginning of time. They're created in the nuclear furnaces of stars, and the only way they can get into your body is if the stars are kind enough to explode. So forget Jesus. The stars died so that you could be here today. Okay? And anyway.
So you understand this video? Yes? Are we all clear about it? So Professor Krauss is saying that the stars died, formed all the elements that came on the earth, and as a result, it formed you and me. So you don't need Jesus. That's what he says. Okay? Are we all happy about it? You got the picture? You want to see it again, or that's enough? Enough. Yes, you have seen it already. Good. Right, let us see another video about the sun, I think. Yeah, how the sun is working. Listen to this.
The sun, created on day 4 of creation week to rule the day, to give light upon the earth, and to mark signs and seasons. Astronomers have found only a handful of stars anything like the sun. It is among the top 1 percentile for mass of stars. It's an ideal size to support life on Earth. Not too small, not too big. A huge red star would swallow the Earth, and a blue-white supergiant would blind us. The sun is an extremely efficient source of constant energy. Every second it produces enough energy to run 1 billion major cities for 1 year. Secular astronomers believe that the sun formed from a nebular cloud of dust and gas 4.5 billion years ago. If true, as the gases collected, the sun would have spun faster and faster, like an ice skater pulling in her arms, and in this case, it should be rotating once every few hours. But in fact, the sun spins only once every 25 days. The sun is well behaved as stars go. Sure, it has a few flare-ups now and then, but some other stars have super flares, 100 million times worse than the sun's biggest flares. Just one super flare would destroy life on Earth. Stars also blast hot gases into space called coronal mass ejections, or CMEs. These CMEs would cause radiation poisoning and death on Earth. But our sun's CMEs are mild by comparison to other stars. And not only that, the Earth, unlike the Moon, is surrounded by a protective magnetic field. When this field is disturbed, we can see the results. It's called the Aurora Borealis, or Northern Lights, a beautiful reminder of how God has created and protected the Earth.
To show you how big the sun is and the chemical reactions that are taking place, hydrogen, helium fusion, and the energy that comes from the sun is massive energy. If we are nearer the sun, we'll be burned completely. If the sun is more brighter, we'll be blinded with the light. But it is done in a wonderful way that the Earth's distance from the sun is the right distance. So it is not cold to burn us completely, and it's not cold so we will not benefit from its energy. And its energy is controlled, so it is coming to us gradually. So it can help the plants, it can help the animals, it can help the humans. Do you think all of that happened by chance? Do you think that can happen with just time and chance and laws of nature? Do you think that can happen with the Big Bang? Impossible. Impossible. Obviously the details of this video are very interesting, but you don't have to know all the science in it, because there is lots of science in that video. It says that there is magnetic field around the Earth, and the magnetic field protects us from the harmful X-rays that is in the universe. So if the magnetic field is shrinking, the result is these X-rays will come and penetrate the Earth and kill all of us. But if the Earth is billions of years, the magnetic field will come less and less and less and less, and there will be no life on Earth. So it fits only to the idea of thousands of years, not billions of years, as I explained in the Big Bang model. Right. I think this is another one about the planets. The planets are different from the stars. Watch this video.
Humans need energy. Energy to work, to walk, to think. Our cells even need energy when we sleep. And God provided a tremendous source of continual energy, the sun. The sun has all the energy we could ever need, but no human or animal on the planet can get its energy directly from the sun. Plants, on the other hand, can do exactly that. Every leaf of every plant has the ability to convert sunlight into energy, energy we, in turn, can use. For that purpose, leaves have been designed to absorb sunlight, let in carbon dioxide, and hold in water. Inside the cells of the leaf are amazing energy factories that pack the energy of sunlight into high-energy foods. Some molecules absorb sunlight, others open and close portals, others transport things. This sophisticated chemical factory performs hundreds of separate steps in perfect harmony. A symphony so complex that we have not yet fully fathomed it. Dozens of scientists are still working around the world to figure out the individual steps. And all this happens in millions of cells in every blade of grass every day of the year. And plants do much more than that. They produce oxygen. They provide homes for animals. They slow down erosion. They hold moisture. Every blade of grass, every rustling leaf, constantly converts the energy of the sun into food, oxygen, and shelter. That is an amazing testimony to God's wisdom and God's care and provision for all creation.
As I said, there is lots of information here. You don't need to worry about all the chemical reaction and things that I showed you. But the important thing is to understand that I need energy. And this energy comes from the sun. It goes to the plants and the fruit and the vegetables. And it manufactures energy in them. And then I eat the plants and the fruit, and I get energy to my body. Do you think this cycle can happen by chance? Do you think that just can happen haphazardly by the Big Bang? Impossible. This needs a designer, this needs a God who can control all these things together. So if I'm hungry, I can't sit under the sun and get satisfied. I get all the energy. The energy has to come to the plants first. They manufacture food for me, and I eat the food, and I'm not hungry anymore. You see how the cycle works? That won't happen by chance. It needs a creator. In this diagram, you see the sun, and the distance of the air in the middle to the sun. And this distance is just the right distance. If we come nearer to the sun, we'll be burned, and there will be no life at all. If we go a little bit far, we'll be very cold, and there will be no life at all on Earth. Do you think that can happen by the Big Bang? Impossible. How can the Big Bang just put the Earth to the sun in the right distance? Because as I said, if we come nearer, we'll get burned. If we go far, we'll be very cold, and there will be no life. Do you think that needs a creator? Definitely it does need a creator. He created the heavens and the earth. In the beginning, God created. In the Big Bang Theory, in the beginning there was nothing. And nothing has exploded and formed everything. We have a better starting point. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. You see the difference between the two? And we cannot put the Big Bang in the Bible at all. Right, let us talk about the moon. What is the origin of the moon? You remember Neil Armstrong from America, the first astronaut, landed on the moon, and that is great because this is operational science. You remember? There are two types of science, operational science and historical science. So, to send a man on the moon and adjust the temperature and the suit he was wearing and the oxygen that he's breathing, that is great. Now, do we understand how the moon was formed? There are different theories, and none of them is valid till now. So we can visit the moon, but we don't know the origin of the moon, how the moon was formed. We believe that God created the moon, but the other theories are really not valid at all. None of them is really satisfying at the moment. No scientist can tell you how the moon was formed. We can visit the moon, we can have more information about the moon, but we don't know how it is formed. Now, the first theory is the earth was rotating and the moon was rotating and they came together. Obviously this is not a valid theory at all, because the moon is very important to the life on earth. You know why? Because the moon not only gives light at night, but it's important to cause something called the change of water, the tide. You know the tide? The tide is the water goes in and out at the shore level. So the tide is very important to remove this water. If the tide doesn't happen, the water will be stagnant and there is no movement in it. And as a result, all the marine animals will die. All the fish and all the marine animals will die. But like if you have a tank of water and you don't change the tank at all, and you put some fish in that, because the water needs to be changed. You agree? So how can we change all the water in all these big oceans, the Pacific Ocean beside you here, the Indian Ocean? How can we change the water? How can we shake it? The moon does that for us every night by moving the water in and out, so it can keep alive. So the moon is essential for life on Earth. And the first theory is the Earth was rotating and the moon was rotating and they joined each other. This is proven to be wrong. The other one is the Earth was rotating and part of the Earth was separated from it and formed the moon. Okay? And that is really George Darwin, the grandson of Darwin, of Charles Darwin, who said this. So the Earth was rotating and part of the Earth was taken away and formed the moon. And this was in 1960s. And they studied all the physics of it and said this is impossible. And they think that what forms the Pacific Ocean is part of the Earth was taken away and formed the moon. Again, that was not right. So they said that the Earth was rotating and part of it just separated and formed the moon. And that again was wrong. So despite the fact we visit the moon, we don't know how the moon was formed. It's formed because God created it. Right. Let us come to something easier to understand. The first part of the lecture is really difficult, but I hope you just get flavor of what it means to believe in the Big Bang. I'll summarize quickly before what Jesus said about the age of the earth. In the Big Bang, they believe it starts with the singularity. What's the meaning of singularity? The energy and matter were condensed in a very small point. And this point started to expand and form the universe. When they started, they said about 15 billion years. And the billion is 1,000 million. Big number. And then now they call it 13.7 billion years. And then they send the stars 10 to 12 billion, the sun 5 billion, the earth 4.5, the oceans 3.8 billion. Okay? Just to remind you of what the Big Bang Theory says. Now, let us see what the Lord Jesus Christ said about the beginning of the world. When they asked Jesus about the divorce, can a man divorce his wife? He said, but from the beginning of creation, God made them male and female. So Jesus talking about the beginning of creation, the beginning of Adam. So, if we look at the beginning, from the genealogy in the Old Testament, we know that's about 4,000 years before Christ. Okay? That's different from the genealogy of Matthew, who neglected some names because he divided them in 14 generations, 14 generations, 14 generations. But in the Old Testament, in Genesis 5 and 11, it is complete or structured genealogy which can be followed and calculated. Even if some names are missing, that will not affect the period as a whole, because the evolution says this is millions of years. The genealogy says it is thousands of years. So if it is 6,000 or 8,000, that is within the range of thousands, compared to the evolution which talks about billions of years. You see the difference. So Jesus said, in the beginning of creation, God created them male and female. So Adam and Eve, 6 days of creation, and then about 4,000 years till Christ, and about 2,000 since Christ, so about 6,000 years altogether. Let us see the Big Bang Theory. The Big Bang Theory takes 14 billion years. And the billion is 1,000 million. You see? So that is their beginning. And that's where we are now. Adam and Eve came after 14 billion years. You see the time scale here? You see the difference? When Jesus speaks about the beginning, he speaks about the beginning of creation, not the Big Bang Theory. I hope that is clear. I know it's a slightly difficult session than the previous one that we had, but you need to understand something about the Big Bang. This is a diagram of civilizations. So civilization is about 10,000 years on Earth, nothing more than that. And obviously this is an average, so 6,000, 8,000, 10,000, that's within range. This is not billions of years or millions of years, because they think that the common ancestor of man started about 4 million years ago. There is no evidence of civilization since then. The civilization time is thousands of years. The Hebrew calendar. Okay, we are 2017 based on the birth of Christ. The Hebrew calendar is based on the creation of Adam. and it is only 5,700 years plus. That's the Hebrew calendar. So the Hebrew calendar, which measures from the birth of Adam till now, is only about 6,000 years. Okay, you see the point? So that is different from the Big Bang theory. The population curve, if we really been on Earth since 4 million years, and the population will increase, and even with the wars and disease and illnesses, the number of people living now will fill all the earth and all the oceans and be no place to stand. But if we are thousands of years, that will be okay. Right. We'll enter into the days of creation now, based on the Bible, and see how the Big Bang theory, when it came, it caused lots of confusion to the Christians. And they started to believe that there are millions and billions of years. Right. These are the 6 days of creation. And I think now we can see them very easily. I put it blank and try to recite them. Day 1. What happened in day 1? Yeah. When you raise your hand and answer. Day 1. What happened? Nothing. Yes. After spending a week with you, to come to this is not very encouraging, huh? Right, day 1. God created the heaven and earth and the light. Okay? Day 2. Separated the water above and water below. Day 3. The land and the sea and what else? Plants on the land. Day 4. Sun, moon, and the stars. Great. Day 5. Yeah, flying creatures and marine animals or marine creatures. Day 6. Animals, man and woman. Great. So these are the 6 days of creation. Now, I showed you this film I think before, but I'd like to show it again. This is the meaning of the word day. Will come.
God created the heaven and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. And God saw the light, and it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. And God said, "Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters." And it was so. And God called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day. And God said, "Let the waters under the heaven be gathered together into one place, and let the dry land appear." And it was so. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters he called seas. And God saw that it was good. And God said, "Let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after its kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth." And it was so. And the evening and the morning were the third day. And God said, "Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven, to divide the day from the night. And let them be for signs and for seasons, and for days and years. And let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven, to give light upon the earth." And it was so. And God made 2 great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night.
And God saw that it was good. The evening and the morning were the fourth day. And God said, let the waters bring forth abundantly a moving creature that has life, and birds that may fly above the earth across the face of the firmament of heaven. And God blessed them, saying, be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters of the seas, and let birds multiply in the earth. And the evening and the morning were the fifth day. And God said, let the earth bring forth a living creature after its kind, livestock and creeping thing, and beast of the earth after its kind. And it was so. God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God he created him. Male and female he created them. And God blessed them. And God said to them, be fruitful and multiply, and fill the earth and subdue it. And have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the air, and over every living thing that moves upon the earth. And God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And the evening and the morning were the sixth day.
So that's completely different from the Big Bang, yes? That's completely different from what I described about the Big Bang. The Big Bang assumes that life started with the singularity, the matter and energy condensed, and then they started to expand, forming the galaxies, forming the sun, forming the earth, and then life started on the earth. That's completely different. Great. Now, let us see the ages that's mentioned in the Bible for the what we call the patriarchs, from Adam to Noah. And these are the calculator now, showing the names of the people: Seth, Enoch, Kenan, Methuselah, Jared, Enoch, and then Lamech and Noah and Shem, and it will continue all these names. But that is really to show you they're about 4,000 years before Christ and 2,000 years to now. So the total is about 6,000 years. When we say 6,000 years, it's about 6,000 years. Some calculation can increase it to about 8,000, but that doesn't matter. Because what matters is this is compared to millions. Yeah? So there are two starting points. One gives us thousands of years, one gives us millions of years. The millions of years depends on the natural way of thinking. That matter can form itself, can form life, and life can increase and become the life we know it. And as I said in the previous days, this is really impossible physically, and there are major problems with that. But this is the calculator to explain how we come to the 6,000 years history of Earth. Right, so 5 days before Adam, and then Adam to Abraham about 2,000 years, Abraham to today 4,000, the total is about 6,000 years. Secular scientists believe that the Earth is 5 billion years ago, and your universe 15 billion years ago. So there is big problem between the two. You cannot combine the Big Bang into the Bible. You cannot. Because the time scale is completely different. The structure of events, the sequence of events is completely different. So you can't combine the idea of the Big Bang with the Bible. So, back to the days of creation, and what is the meaning of the word Yom? Okay, we discussed that, but we'll take it in a further detail in the coming 15 minutes or so. What is the meaning of the word Yom, or day? 24-hour day or more than that? Okay. I will use the word day in different contexts, in different comparisons, and see the meaning. Back in my father's day, is it 24 hours? No. It's length of time back in my father's day, something unidentified. It took 10 days to drive across. Is this 10 days 10 24-hour days? Or not? When I say it took me 10 days to come to India, that means 10 24-hour days or not? It is 24-hour days because I give a number to the day. I traveled during the day, that means the daylight. I didn't travel during the night. Okay? So the word day can be part of the day, can mean 24 hours, can mean a period of time. We agree? Right, good. Right, why we always question the word day in Genesis? We understand the word day any part of the Bible except in chapter 1 in the book of Genesis. When we come to say God created in day 1, day 2, day 3, say, oh, these are periods of time, these are millions of years, we don't believe they are days. When we know about Jericho, that Joshua moved around Jericho for 6 days, can we say this takes 6 million years? We don't have that at all. Yeah? Why in Genesis we have a problem? We have a problem because we're trying to get the Big Bang Theory and put it into the Bible. That is our problem. Okay? So we cannot do that at all. The dictionary will define a day. These are different dictionaries. You don't need to worry about the details of that. Defining the day, and see how the dictionary defines the day. It goes back to Genesis chapter 1 verse 5. Evening and morning one day. And chapter 8, verse 8. Evening and morning one day. Verse 13. Evening and morning one day. Verse 19. Evening and morning one day. Verse 23. Evening and morning one day. Verse 31. Evening and morning one day. So the dictionary defines the day as 24 hours based in Genesis chapter 1. So the language in Genesis chapter 1 says the day is 24 hours. We cannot escape this fact at all. Another dictionary, Hebrew and Aramaic lexicon of the Old Testament, and it gives the same idea. Right. The day plus number mentioned 410 times. Evening and morning together 38 times. Evening or morning with day 23 times. Night with day 52 times. All this means when there is evening and morning and there is a number, that means this is 24-hour days and nothing else. Okay? We establish this in our mind. How can I know the day is 24 hours? Number 1, evening and morning. Number 2, if there is a number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? Great. Let us see the days of creation. God called the light day and the darkness called night. So evening and morning were first day. Second day, evening and morning, second day. Third day, evening and morning, third day. Fourth day, evening and morning, fourth day. So God kept telling us evening and morning, a day. So the day in Genesis means a day, not a period of time, not millions of years, not the Big Bang Theory. Okay? Right. Let us define a day. What is a day astronomically? Can anybody tell me? How can we define a day? Yeah, the Earth rotates around itself one cycle, as you can see here. The Earth rotating around its axis one cycle, that forms a day. Okay? Right. What forms a month? The moon rotating around the Earth full cycle, that gives the moon a month. What is a year? a year, the earth rotates around the sun to make 1 year. Right? Where did we get the week from? Is the week astronomical phenomena? No. The week, why the week is 7 days? Based on the creation week. 6 days and rested in the 7th. Do you know when the French Revolution happened? They tried to make the week 10 days. Because you can change the week. The week doesn't have to be 7 days. Because it's not astronomical phenomena. Yeah? So they tried to make the week 10 days. And it lasted for a few years and they went back to the 7 days. So why we have the week 7 days? Based on the 6 days of creation and day of rest. Okay? So that is really interesting and important. I know the lecture today had a lot of science at the beginning, but now I'd like to come to the application. What is important is to know that the evolution theory of the universe, which is called the Big Bang, cannot fit the Bible at all. The other important verse I'd like to remember is Exodus 20:11. That's a very important verse. Why? Because some people say Genesis is symbolic. Okay? And they say this is just a story to give us a fact. What about the 10 Commandments? Are the 10 Commandments symbolic or real? What do you think? Real, yeah? They were written by the finger of God. So they are real, they are not symbolic, they are not a story. In commandment number 4, see what it says in Exodus 20:11. For in 6 days the Lord made, see what he made, heavens and the earth, the sea, and all what is in them, and rested on the 7th day. Therefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it and gave it as a day of rest. So what the Lord did in 6 days? Count on your finger. Heaven, yeah, you can shout, yeah. In heavens, earth, sea, all is in them and rested on the 7th day. So, according to the Bible, all the creation took place in 6 days. It didn't take millions of years. It didn't take thousands of years to build the earth and the universe. It took only 6 literal days, 24-hour days. Yes? And that's an important verse to remember. And look how God was very clear. In 6 days, the Lord made what? Heavens, that means the outer space and the atmosphere around the earth, and made the earth, made the sea in day 1. There was water and separated the water in day 3. And all what is in them, all the creatures on earth as all the creatures in the sea. So that is, I think, very clear scripture which we cannot debate. Right. Lots of people come when we say this. Okay, in 2 Peter he says, but beloved, do not forget this one thing, that with the Lord 1 day is 1,000 years. Okay? So people quote this verse and say, apply this verse to chapter 1 in Genesis and make the days long days. Yeah? I like to note few things. Peter was talking about the second coming of the Lord, not talking about the creation week. It's number 1. Number 2, Peter said, 1 day is like 1,000 years, but he also said 1,000 years like a day. Okay? So that will cancel each other if you like. That means God is outside time, and He's not calculating the time the way we calculate the time ourselves here. Okay? So that verse does not apply at all to the creation week. When we know that Jonah was in the belly of the fish for 3 days and 3 nights, nobody will say 3 billion years. Yeah? So the only time when we have a problem with understanding the word day is in Genesis 1, chapter 1. Yes? But there should be no problem because the language definition of the day is very clear. Right, so these are the 6 days of creation, and I'm sure now we can remember them. So when the idea of million years came in, and this came in the 17th and 18th century by a chap called Charles Lyell. Charles Lyell said, all the changes that we see in geology nowadays happened in the past and will happen in the future, and this is a slow deposition of layers. So it took millions of years to form. And he said, I will not believe the 5 books of Moses, I will not believe Noah's flood, because the flood changed all of that. We'll study the flood partly in the afternoon and tomorrow morning. Okay? So, he said that we will neglect what is written in the scripture, and we can only see what we can see now, and will not accept anything we can't see at present. So, you remember the map, America and Europe and Africa? Do you have this map in your mind? No. Okay. If the distance between America and Europe is, say, 3,000 miles, and the Earth is shifting 1 meter every year, for example, that takes millions of years to separate the two. Yes? That's true. But when tsunami happened in Southeast Asia, some islands moved within hours. You see the point? So, in the flood, there was major catastrophic tsunamis that shifted the earth and made these separations that we see nowadays. So what we see nowadays is not the measure of what has happened in the past. You understand this? I hope you do. So when the millions of years came in the 18th century, the church said, okay, we'll accept the millions of years, let us put them in the Bible. Okay? It's impossible, but they tried. So they said millions of years before day one, before God created the heavens and the earth. There was millions of years. But this really didn't stand, because what happened in these millions of years before the earth and before the sun, before we can count a year, it didn't work. So, the second theory was, let us put the millions of years between verse 1 and verse 2. That's called the gap theory. The gap theory was by a Scottish priest or a Scottish minister in 1812. And he said, okay, in the beginning God created the heaven and the earth. And the earth was formless and without shape and there was no life. So there is a gap here between verse 1 and verse 2, and we can put millions of years and dinosaurs and fossils and everything. That didn't work, because the description is the earth was without a shape and without life. That is the structure of the earth at the beginning. It was not destroyed. It is just a lump of clay, if you like. And God is going to make the whole universe, the whole earth after that. So there was another idea of making the days long. Yes? And saying, okay, the days are period of time. It's not 24 hours. We can just accept they are periods of time. Again, that doesn't work, because that means there is death before the sin of Adam, because from these days you can find fossils. Some people said, okay, the days are 24 hours, and God created in 24 hours, but between every day and the second following day, there are millions of years. Okay? This again didn't work, because that means there is death before Adam's sin. So that is the problem of the millions of years. You cannot insert them in the Bible. So what the gap theory is doing, separating verse 1 from verse 2, but they are not separated. Verse 2 is description to the creation at day 1. Day-age theory, that is stretching the day to make it millions of years. And then theistic evolution. What is this theistic evolution? Theistic evolution, we say God used evolution to create. So He took millions of years to create. So He created the apes first, and then after millions of years, the apes started to breathe and formed the man at the end. I'd like you to tell me now, after 3 days or 4 days of teaching, what is the problem of theistic evolution? Can we accept theistic evolution, that God used evolution to create? What is the problem with that? I'd like you to think about it. Could we accept this idea? Yes or no? No. Why not? Why God cannot use evolution to create? I know it's getting late, but try to think. I'll give you some time to think. Theistic evolution. Theistic meaning God. Evolution is evolution. Can God use evolution to create? Yes? No? No votes? Right. Let us show hands. Can God use creation, evolution to create? Who believes that? Hands up. No one. Okay. Why God does not use evolution to create? Why is that? I need an answer. Yeah. They give the mic. Yeah. Yeah. No. We give the mic. Yes, please. Don't worry. It's good. Oh, we have a mobile mic now. Great. Yeah. Yeah. No. Wait a minute till he gets it on. Yeah. Sorry. No. Wait. We need to hear you. It's good. Yeah.
In the sight of God, everything is good.
Yeah.
If everything is good means there is no need to evaluate.
If everything is good is what? Sorry?
Everything is good means no need to evaluate.
Yes. No need for evolution. That's a good reason. Thank you. Yes. Have you heard? We are talking here. Thank you. Have a sit down. Yeah. In the eyes of God, after each day, He saw it is good. Right? So there can't be illness and disease and death, because that's not good. That's number one. Any other reason that theistic evolution is wrong? We all agree it's wrong, yes? That God cannot use His, yes.
God made in their hands. So there can be a microevolution, but not macroevolution.
No, say that again, I can't hear you.
God made according to their kinds.
Yeah?
So it cannot evolve from one kind and change to other kind.
Exactly, that's a good one. God created, you remember when we started the creation model? God created according to His kind, according to His kind, according to His kind. And we cannot move from one kind to another kind. That's good. Right. What else? Why God cannot use evolution to create? Do you want to speak? Right. Yeah? Shall we set the mic? Yeah, take it to the forehead. Yeah, just... No. You raised your hand, probably you're just... Okay.
God is so powerful, so no need to condition our earth.
God is so powerful?
Yeah.
Yeah, so He doesn't need evolution. That's a very good reason, actually. You are right.
He
Thank
can
you.
create from both of us, nothing to create.
He created. He doesn't need evolution. Yeah. Right? What else? Any other reason?
God created all the things through His word, but He created only human with His hand.
No, I can't hear that. I couldn't understand.
God made all the creation with His word,
Yes.
but He made only humans with His hand.
Yes, that's right. So humans did not come from apes. That's good. Yeah. Right. What else? That's very good reasons. Well done, class. Yeah. What else? Right. I'll add. Yeah. You can tell us. You don't have to talk to each other. Yes.
God created apes, animals and humans on the same day.
Yes. Exactly.
So there is no time for evolution.
Exactly, there is no time for evolution, absolutely. Because evolution, remember the secret of evolution, time, chance, and laws of nature. But there is no time for animals to evolve into man. And they cannot, as we said in the biology, they cannot because they need added information. So, for my arm to function like this, I need information on the cells. Yeah? The hand of the ape is different. So it needs a different kind of information to manufacture a hand. Good. What else? There's one missing step. Yeah. Oh, you want to distribute the mic? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So I was getting out and the two, one of the girl and one of the boy over there was saying they will evaluate what is that actually. You are accepting that statement. Because the topic you're talking is evolution. But other one is evaluate. They were talking about evaluate. Then how you are able to support the statement? Because you are accepting for the statement. Because it was a little contradiction. And the next one, I will come to theistic evolution. Here we can see God clearly he tells that he doesn't believe in the apes or anything because that is man-made. It was the process of the theories that was made by the man. So I would say that God will never use this evolution theory because he is the only the creator or the constructor of the world.
Yes, I think that's wonderful. Yeah, because God is a creator. He can create from nothing. So he does not need the evolution process, absolutely. Any other reason? Yeah, I see the mic moving. Yes, go.
I think we are created in the image and likeness of God.
Yeah.
My knowledge, God won't be in the image of ape or something.
Exactly. We are not created in the image of ape. We are created in the image of God. So evolution doesn't work. You are right. Wonderful. Any other reason? All what you said is great actually. I'm very pleased because that means you understood all of these difficult things. Especially lecture today is very difficult because it's the Big Bang and lots of physics and it's difficult. But I hope you just got an understanding of the whole thing. Right. Why theistic evolution, that means God used evolution, is not valid? The other reason is because evolution depends on death and life cycle. Yeah? Animals will live and then the weak ones will die, the strong one will survive, and then they go to another cycle, and the strong will live, and the weak will be eliminated. So there is death, life cycle all the time. Yes? That's in evolution theory. But we remember death entered the world after the fall of Adam. So there was no death before Adam. So there was no development to reach to Adam by cycles of death in the animals to come to Adam. You see that point or not? Is it clear? Yeah? So there was no death before Adam. Right, I won't keep you longer, but I'll take you back to the danger of understanding or believing in evolution. Now, I showed you Professor Krauss, who said, don't worry about Jesus dying for you. The stars died and brought all the elements to the earth, and the elements on the earth made you and me. So forget about Jesus dying for you, thanks the stars who died for you. I showed you this clip. So that's the danger of believing in the Big Bang theory. Now, I showed you this clip before, I'll show it again, because it shows the danger of believing in evolution theory. Okay? So see that clip.
And was there a particular point that, or something that you read or an experience you had that sort of said, yeah, this is it, God doesn't exist?
Oh, well, by far the most important, I suppose, was understanding evolution. I think the evangelical Christians have really sort of got it right in a way in seeing evolution as the enemy, whereas the more, what shall we say, sophisticated theologians are quite happy to live with evolution. I think they're deluded. I think the evangelicals have got it right in that there really is a deep incompatibility between evolution and Christianity, and I think I realized that at the age of about 60.
Right, we met this person before, that's Charles Dawkins, who is a fake atheist, who doesn't believe in God. And the question that was asked, when did you start doubting the presence of God? He said, when I was about 16, and I believed in evolution, so there is no need for God to create, so there is no need for God at all. So as a result, I became an atheist, a person who doesn't believe in God. So that is the danger. I will show you again the Krauss one. I know Krauss's English is difficult, but I'd like you to see it again to compare really dangerous stuff. Here is Krauss.
This is something
Yeah. I just want to show you that this is the third time I'm showing this, just to show you the danger of believing in evolution and the Big Bang. It's really dangerous. Probably here, I was chatting to one of your professors and he said, most of the people in India believe there is a God and He created. But this is not the case in the West at all. Yeah? So, they think we came from chemical reactions. We think, as Krauss said, stars exploded, formed the elements which came on the earth and formed you and me. And said, forget about Jesus who died for you. The stars died so you can live. That's very sad. Really very sad. And that's why we are running this course here. Because it is really dangerous for Christians to believe in Darwinian evolution or in the Big Bang theory. Both are very dangerous. Okay, as I said, I'm about to finish, so let me just see what else I'd like you to see. We have the days. Right. I'll finish with these few slides. 5 minutes and I'll finish. Right, what the Bible teaches, Adam in full action, fully functioning man and woman were created in day 6. And then they disobeyed God and sin entered into the world and caused death and the fossils and all of that. Now, the evolution theory and millions of years say death was with us for millions of years. It didn't come as a result of sin of Adam. And the death continued to happen, and at the top of that came man, because by death and life, evolution, man and woman came at the top. Again, there is a big problem of creation of the woman. Who created the man or evolution of a woman? It has to be the woman evolving at the same time as man in the same place so they can get married and they can have kids. Again, this is a chance. So, the evolution idea of millions of years of death till we come at the top, completely different from the biblical creation model, which is God created man fully functioning, and then death entered into the world and caused all of that. So these are the two models, and they are incompatible. You cannot have them together at all. You either believe in one or the other. When people try to mix it to the Bible, they compromise the Bible. They change the Bible. But the Bible is unchangeable. So 6 days of creation is essential for understanding God's creation. If we don't, it's really going to disturb the whole understanding of salvation. These are the two men which really changed the thinking of the West, Charles Darwin and Charles Lyell. Charles Lyell in geology said the deposition is the same rate that happened in the past. He refused Noah's flood, and that's what we're going to talk about in the afternoon and tomorrow morning. And Charles Darwin took the idea and said, okay, organisms continue millions of years. I showed you this slide before. When we try to communicate the gospel to somebody, to say Jesus was born, lived a perfect life, died, and rose again to pay the penalty of our sin. But in actual fact, we need to start from the beginning. God created us on His image. We fallen in sin. We needed a Savior, and that's why Jesus came. So really the gospel is based on Genesis, based on the Old Testament. And we need to know and trust the Word of God. And we need to be able to defend the Word of God scientifically and spiritually. And I hope I have given you some ideas. There are much more details than what I included in the lecture. But I hope you understood something today. Even it was difficult, but please try to remember it. And everything is recorded. There will be a copy for everyone. Dr. Boss said he will do that for you. So go back and think about what you learned during this week. Go back and think. Because I know there is massive information, lots of information. And nobody will be able to absorb all of that at once. Okay? I don't expect you to do that. But I expect you to think and to work and to find out for yourself. Okay? Any questions before I finish? Yes. Mike. Yeah, is there a mic on? No, there is not. Yeah. Yeah, he will increase the one. Yeah. Okay, try that now. Yeah.
It is said that on the deathbed of Darwin, he admitted that he was wrong. Is it true?
I can't understand the question.
We heard that many persons saying that on his deathbed, Darwin admitted that he was wrong.
No. Thank you for asking this question. No, this is a little story which is wrong, completely wrong. Yeah? So Darwin did not repent about his ideas. He died as a person who doesn't believe in God. And this is a wrong story. I have a full video about the life of Darwin, and it doesn't say that at all. So it's completely wrong story. And please, when you are preaching, don't complicate this story anymore. Don't say it again, please. Because his theory, he was convinced this is the right theory, and he died unbelieving in God. Okay, any other questions? Yeah.
God,
Yeah, it's okay.
God is so powerful, and God created man in His image.
Yeah.
Then why not man is not powerful like God?
Exactly. That's very good. That's very good. Right. Do you know the original man Adam was it's very good.
Hebrew chapter 2 verses 6, 7.
Yeah. Right.
Friends.
Sure. Okay. Right. Number one. God created man on His image. Why man is not powerful as God? Right. He didn't make him equal to God. He created on His image. Okay? And the original man was very intelligent. We think the original man was just living in the wilderness and he was primitive and used the stone and some straw. No, he was very intelligent because Adam was able to name the animals and to have dominion, power over the creation. So we are not a copy of God, we are made on His image, and that's different. Okay? So we are made to His image perfect, but after sin, we are declining. And then the Lord Jesus Christ will come again and will be in the real image of God. You see the point? So Jesus will come, and in eternity is the middle stage between a perfect creation. Man was very powerful, but it was not God. Man was very powerful and perfect. Now we are in the declining curve, and Jesus will come and restore that again. Genesis 2, I dealt with that yesterday, but I'm happy to repeat what I have said yesterday. Genesis 2 is not against Genesis 1. In Genesis 2, that's what we call flashback. What it means is, chapter 1 gives us the whole story altogether. Chapter 2 will take us into some details of the story. Okay? So the details started to tell us about when God created the plants and there was no man to tender them. So there was no man in day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But in day 6, God created man. Okay? So, chapter 2, I had a full slide explaining that the things that God did and the things that Adam did, and we proved it can be done in 24 hours. So, chapter 2 is flashback, explaining what happened in the week of creation, concentrating on day 6, but it mentions other days as well. Okay? Right. Any other questions? Yeah. Yeah.
My question is, so in Genesis we can see two words: God created and God made.
Yes.
Actually, God created everything. His words.
Yeah.
But God did not make anything.
He did not what, sir? Yeah.
Sir, God created everything at God's word.
Yeah.
His
His
word.
word.
But God did not make anything.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
What's the difference? These two words.
Yeah. Okay. Let me just explain that first before second question. Okay. Right. God created and God made. These words are interchangeable. They can use each instead of each other. But He created the earth in day 1. Yes? In day 6, He made Adam. Because He took the dust of the earth, which was created. Yeah, are you listening to me? The one sitting beside you is not listening. Yeah. Right? So, He took the dust that He created in day 1. And in day 6, He made the man. But again, the word made the man translated as created the man. So the word made and created are replacing each other. So He made by His word, and the word is Jesus, because this is the expression of who God is. And He made the world and created the world. Those are interchangeable. You understand interchangeable? That means used instead of each other. Okay? So He created by His word. Created by His word. And He took the dust and created man.
Verse 6 and 7 also, they are also using the same word.
Yeah.
Creating
And made.
Yeah.
Both are equal each other. Right. What's the second question?
My second question is, actually this is general question. Sir, in the earth some places are very cool.
Yes.
And some places are very hot. What's the reason for that?
Some places are
Very hot.
hot. Yeah.
Some places are very cool.
Yeah.
What's the reason for
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. That's obviously due to the rotation of the earth and the position in relation to the sun and other places. So I live in Britain, and it's very cold weather. I can't go like this with t-shirt because it's so cold. Yeah. So when I came here, I put in my suitcase a full suit. But when I came here, I said, no chance I can wear this now because it's so warm here. Yeah. It's cold and warm depending on the rotation of the earth and if you are up north or down south. If you are near the equator of the earth, it's more hot and humid. If you go up north, it is more cold. So that is the rotation of the earth and the different atmospheres in the earth. Okay. Right, any more? Yeah.
Genesis
Genesis 4.
Genesis chapter 4, we see that Cain kills Abel. In the story, verse 14, if someone sees me,
Yeah.
my doubt is who are these other people? We
Oh,
know that
right.
Adam and Eve and those sons.
That's very good. Yeah, that's very good question. Right. Did we hear the question first of all? Do we understand what it is?
Who are the other people?
Yes, exactly. Right. Cain, when he disobeyed God and killed his brother, said to the Lord, whoever meets me will kill me. Yeah? Who were these other people? Yeah. The Bible doesn't mention all the descendants of Adam. He mentioned the important line. So it was not only Cain and Abel and Seth. The tradition of the Jews believe there are 33 sons and daughters of Adam. Okay? So there were other people, descendants of Adam and Eve. So Cain was worried that his brothers or sisters who are not mentioned in the Bible, because the Bible doesn't mention every name, but mentions the important names. So he was worried that one of them will take revenge and kill them. I'd like you to open chapter 5, verse 4. No, concentrate with me, please, because this is important. Genesis chapter 5, verse 4. Brothers, look, you cannot talk when I'm talking. That's not acceptable. Okay? Right. Genesis chapter 5, I'd like you to open chapter 5 and read verse 4. Yeah, so Adam had other sons and daughters, which we don't know their names. Yes? So, Cain was worried that the other sons and daughters in the family will take revenge because he killed Abel, their brother, and he was worried about that. And God gave him a sign so he will not be killed. Do we understand this question? Because that's a very important question. Right, any others?
Another question, chapter 6, Genesis chapter 6, second verse, we see the sons of God and the daughters of man.
Yeah.
And who are these sons of God and daughters of man?
Yeah. Let me explain that again. The sons of God and the daughters of men. Some people believe that the Son of God are the angels. Right? Because the word sons of God mentioned about angels. But angels cannot marry women. And they cannot have children. Okay? Genetically, they cannot marry. They don't have a body to marry. They are spirits. Okay? And you remember when the Lord Jesus was asked about this family, a man married a woman and then died. So according to the law, his brother will marry her. And then they give him the question, 7 people married this lady, one after the other, and each time died. So they said to him, in eternity, she will be the wife of which one? God said, in the eternity, they will be like angels. They don't marry and give in marriage. Okay? So the idea of the sons of man, of God, in chapter 6 as the angels is wrong. Okay? Unfortunately, some translations mention the sons of God as angels, and that's wrong. They are human beings, okay? And these human beings were called the sons of God because they were the rulers of the land. Okay? So they were corrupt, they abused women, and they caused trouble in the land, and that is the name, the sons of God. Okay? Because the punishment of the flood, as we will see in the afternoon, is for men and women, for the human race. It's not for the angels. Okay? So these are the sons of God. There was another question before we started is, What about the 120 years that God gave? He said the life of man will be 120 years. No, this is not the age of man. This is the age between the preaching of Noah and the coming of the floods. So this period is given to men to repent. And if they don't repent, the flood will come. Okay, any others? Because the time is up. Yeah, go. Go and then yourself. And that will be the last step. Go.
So nowadays scientists and Bill Gates, they are trying to live on the moon. They are all trying to go live on the moon. So for second coming Jesus Christ, where he will come, on the earth, on the moon?
Oh, that's good. Yeah. There is no life in the moon. That's the problem. I really need you, when you listen to this news, to really use your mind. Because there is no life in the moon. You know, for the astronaut to go there, all these equipments, and if one of them failed, he will die. So don't expect life like us in the moon or on the Mars. Nothing at all like this. Nothing at all like this. Okay? So humans are only on earth, and that's why Jesus came to save the humans on earth. He doesn't need to go to the moon. Good question. Right, there was a question coming here. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, we'll get you, don't worry. Okay.
We are created in the image of God.
Yes.
My question is, does he have sexual organs?
Does he have
sexual organs?
Sexual organs. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. No. As I said, God is not male or female because He created on their image, male and female, He made them. So God is not a sexual organ at all. God is a spirit, so there is no body. Okay? So we created the sexual organs for men and women, which are completely different. And He made attraction between the men and women to marry and have children. Yes? But God is a spirit who created in His image equality in our understanding, in the freedom of choice, of justice, of all of that. That's His quality. But not in physical, because God is not physical. Okay? So there is no sexual organs with God. Right. Okay, your question. Yeah.
Even into morning, we can find only darkness.
Yes.
So God named this darkness is night. Then how become is one day?
Exactly. Right. But remember, in day one there was darkness, I agree. But He created light in day one. So there was light and the earth rotating. So one part of the earth is exposed to the light, and the other part is exposed into darkness. The earth rotates, so the one which was exposed to the darkness became light, and the one which is exposed to the light became darkness, and that's the day and the night, because of the rotation of the earth. Okay.
So again, another question. If we see Genesis chapter 1, verse 2, there is in darkness God's spirit was there. How in darkness God's spirit will be?
How the darkness what?
In darkness and God's spirit.
Oh yeah. The darkness was covering the earth, but God's spirit was hovering above all of that. So the darkness was on the earth, but God's spirit is above all of that. Okay? That's not a problem.
Again, sir, Moses told time that the 370 days, how 371 days to?
How the what? Sorry, again.
Moses told time, sir, our earth.
Sorry, I can't understand. Can anybody explain what it means?
The duration of Noah's flood is exactly 371 days.
Duration? Yeah, we'll talk about 371 days. I'll talk about that when we speak about flood in the afternoon. Yeah. Okay? Yeah, last question. Yeah. You can write your questions and keep them for afternoon. Yeah. Yes.
Sir, Adam was born on the 6th day.
Yeah.
Then how can he know about the creation?
Yeah, exactly. Very good question. God declared that to him. Which is great. Yes, your question is very good because he doesn't know about the 5 days. Absolutely right. But God explained to Adam what God has done in the creation. Okay? Right. Thank you very much. And let's see the answer.
Thank you, sir, for your nice lecture. Thank you, friends, for your participation. God bless you. You may go.